So I'm going to go ahead and get started. My name is Tina Knox. I am the coordinator of undergraduate instruction and advising for MCB, and I'd like to welcome you all today. We're going to be talking about undergraduate research in the School of MCB. I have a bit of an agenda for you, just so you can know what to look forward to. So we've got a special guest that's going to give you a few pieces of information about biochemistry specifically, if there are biochem students here. Then I'm going to talk to you about what undergraduate research is and what's expected of you in MCB, how to find a lab, what the procedures are for enrolling in the courses, MCB 290 or Biochem 290, which is undergraduate research. Then we're going to have a couple of guest faculty speakers, and they're going to talk to you about what they look for in an undergraduate researcher. And then we are going to have 3 different students who are currently doing research and have been for a while. They're going to come and talk to you about their perspective. If we have time at the end, then I'm going to talk to you about graduation with distinction, which is something that you can do if you start doing research and you do it consistently. That could be a whole talk in and of itself, so I'll just give you the nuts and bolts of that if we have time. If not, we will be posting these slides and the video, we're taking video today, on our undergraduate research website. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Jeff Goldberg, and he's going to speak to any biochemistry students who might be present.
Hi, hello, thank you, Tina. Before I get started, are there any biochemistry students in the room? Raise your hand. If not, this will be the shortest talk you have all semester. Is there anybody who wants to transfer to biochemistry? The great major that it is. Still no hands?
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, Jeff.
You bet.
You want to tell a joke on your way out?
Well, no. Well, there's a priest or no.
So usually Jeff doesn't hesitate to stand on the stage and perform for people, so I was pretty sure that would happen. Okay, so I know there's no biochemistry students in the room. Let me get an idea, show of hands, who I'm speaking to today. How many of you are freshmen? Nice. Good. Okay. How many of you are sophomores? Good. Juniors? Seniors? Okay. So, and how many of you are biology or MCB majors? Is there anybody in a different major? What's your major?
I-Health.
I-Health?
Agricultural biology.
But you're switching, right? Okay, I just recognized you. Okay, so I'm talking to mostly MCB majors. Are you interested in switching to MCB at any point, or are you just...
Yeah.
Okay, good. So what I'm talking about today is going to be very specific to students in biology, biochemistry, or MCB. And I will keep in mind that there are no biochemistry students here, so that will make some of this go a little bit quicker. The first thing I wanted to do is just talk to you about what undergraduate research is and what we consider it to be specifically in the School of Molecular and Cellular Biology. So the good news for you is you are all students at a Research 1 institution, the University of Illinois. One of the 3 main missions for the University of Illinois is research. So you're very lucky in that there are lots of opportunities for you to conduct research on this campus, whether it be in the School of MCB or in another department or college on campus. And we really encourage you, especially as scientists, to get involved in research, to learn what it's like to work in a lab. So if you are interested in doing that, which I assume most of you are because you came today, then what you will be doing is signing up to work with a professor in a lab on this campus, and either that professor, who we also refer to as the principal investigator or the PI, that professor or one of that professor's graduate students or a postdoctoral employee in the lab will work with you. And when you first get started, they'll probably have you do things like read background information, papers that they're doing in lab. They will teach you some techniques in the lab, and you'll probably be helping someone else with a project. The longer you're there and the more that you learn, then you can sort of transfer all of the skills that you've learned into a project of your own in some cases. So that's what research is like in MCB. For the most part, our students will earn course credit for this. So we have a course called MCB 290. It's undergraduate research, and you can earn credit hours for working in a research lab. There are a few paid positions for research on campus. I don't know what those are. If you find them, then you got lucky, because there are not a lot of them around. Most students choose to get course credit. Okay. Oh, that was a sneak peek. Okay, so why do you guys want to do undergraduate research? What are you interested in, and what brought you to this talk today? Should have brought prizes to throw. I have virtual prizes. You get a virtual high five if you answer a question. What do you want to learn? Why do you want to do undergraduate research? What do you want to learn in the lab? Yeah.
Just to gain experience, in the research lab. So when you're ready to apply for med school, I can say that I have some.
Okay, you want to gain some sort of experience, right? So you can use that when you're looking for a job or grad school. What other reasons? Yeah.
I want to contribute to the advancement of our current knowledge.
Wonderful. So contributing to the advancement of current knowledge. Did I see a hand over here?
Narrow down exactly what
Okay, so you want to use this as an opportunity to decide what you like and what you don't like, so when you go to graduate school or get a job later, you know what works for you and what doesn't. Very good. So here are some reasons to get involved in research other than what you just mentioned here. Getting to experience cutting-edge science. So in your classes, you're going to be learning the foundational information that you need to use in a research lab. But when you work with faculty, they are doing cutting-edge research using state-of-the-art technology. You get to experience that as an undergraduate and decide, is this maybe something I want to do? Do I want to go to graduate school and further my research interests? Do I want to get a master's? Do I want to get a PhD? Maybe, do I not like research? And so I tried it, I don't like it, and now I know that that is not the career path for me. So these are a lot of reasons that people get involved in research and some of the things that you can get out of them. Even if you decide it's not for you, if you don't like it, you will learn some critical thinking skills, problem-solving skills that will help you no matter what career you go into. So it's a very good opportunity, and it's a nice chance to get to know some faculty in a smaller group setting. Okay, so who is eligible for this? So students who are declared majors in biology, MCB, or biochemistry can earn MCB 290 research credit. So if you are not a declared major, you won't be able to earn this course credit for it until you declare one of the three majors that are up on the screen. There are some instances where our faculty need someone from a different major or want to work with someone from a different major, and if they make a case for you, then sometimes a non-major can do research. But for the most part, this is just going to be declared majors in MCB, biology, or biochemistry. To earn the credit, you have to do this in an approved lab. So any faculty member in the School of MCB is eligible for MCB 290 research credit. There are some instances, actually quite a few instances, where you can earn credit by doing research in a non-MCB lab. And basically what that requires is that you write a proposal with the faculty member, a short proposal, like less than one page. You write a proposal for what the research is that you're going to be doing, and a lot of it is very applicable to molecular and cellular biology. It gets approved, and then you can sign up for MCB 290 in a non-MCB lab. We recommend that you don't do research unless you're in good academic standing. We recommend a minimum GPA of 3.0. Now this is recommended. That doesn't mean if you're lower than that you can't do research. One of the things you're going to see on a later slide is there are some faculty who do not care what your GPA is. They just want to know if you're a hard worker and if you will get the work in lab done. Now, the reason that we suggest this, and as an academic advisor, because that's one of the hats that I wear, is that if you are struggling with your academics, doing undergraduate research is going to take time away from your academics. And so that's where it worries us. So think carefully about the time that you have to devote to extracurriculars, to your academics, and to research. Okay. So a couple of notes here. It's important that you realize that you cannot be paid and earn course credit for MCB 290 or Biochem 290. It's one or the other. You get course credit or you get paid. Most of the time it's course credit. And the other thing is you have to register for the course by the university deadlines. So you can add a course up until the 10th day of class during the regular semester or till the 7th day of class during a summer semester. Those are our deadlines for adding MCB 290. Okay, so you want to make sure to pay attention to deadlines. If you have any general questions, we have an entire website right here that you can go to. You can see past videos that we've done. You can hear from students who are doing research. You can read about students who are doing research. You can see all the information about our forms and deadlines there. All right, so a typical workload. This is a course, MCB 290. 1 credit hour of that is equal to about 5 hours a week in lab. I would say just starting off, most students will do 1 or 2 credit hours, so that's 5 to 10 hours a week in lab. Once you get more involved in research, you're probably going to be looking at 2 to 3 credit hours. What I will say is this is our recommendation. The School of MCB recommends 1 credit hour for every 5 hours spent in lab. That does not mean that every faculty member on campus will adhere to this. And one of the things that I'm going to say to you today is wherever you end up working, you need to have discussions with the faculty that you are working with about what their expectations are. So if you sign up for 1 credit hour, is this what they expect? Because if it isn't, they're going to be giving you a grade at the end, and you need to know what their expectations are. So that's the next point. Always have a discussion with the person you're working with. Make sure you know when they expect you to be in lab, how much work they want you to get done. Do you need to attend lab meetings? Do you need to attend journal club meetings? What do they want you to do so that you can get a grade in that course? One of the questions that I get after students start doing research is there a limit to the number of hours that I can do? The answer to that is yes and no. So technically, there is a 10-hour limit for the amount of MCB 290, which is independent research, that you can count towards the 120 hours that you need to graduate. Now, I encourage you, if you get started in research and you are enjoying it and you have a good relationship with the faculty person that you are working with, that you continue doing it. All research that you do, no matter how many credit hours it adds up to, will show on your transcript. You will get a grade for all of that. That will stay in the transcript. It will factor into your GPA. The only limit is what can count towards your 120 hours. And most MCB students do not have a problem at all hitting their 120 hours for graduation. Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay, so I think one of the main things you all want to know is how do I find research, right? So these are some 5 basic steps that you want to go over to find research in MCB. So the first thing is to come to something like this and or review all of the information that we have on our undergraduate research website. Then you're going to read about faculty research interests. You're going to make a list of faculty that you would like to work with, and then you're going to create an online student profile and then contact faculty. So let's break this down a little bit. The website that we have that I gave you the URL to earlier, it's basically, if you just search Undergraduate Research MCB, you'll find this website. You can find tons of information. We have all of the forms that you need to earn course credit. We have summer forms, we have renewal forms, we have handouts about undergraduate research, we have some past video interviews with students, we've got some written articles about students who did undergraduate research, we have videos, things like that. So if you're not sure where to go after today, go back to that website and see what all is on there. That'll get you started. The next thing, and probably one of the most important things that you'll do, is research the faculty on this campus. Find out who you want to work with, get their contact information, and the way you do that is you can go to this website here. So you can take a picture of it, you could write it down, but you could also just search faculty research interests, MCB, and you'll get that. And then what you'll see is, once you get to that page, you can search faculty if you know their name by last name. You could do it by department. So if you're really interested in cell and developmental biology, you can look at all of the faculty who are doing research in that department. You can click on research interests to get a list of all of the different research interests in the School of MCB. If you want to specifically work on disease, we have a link that just goes to the disease research interests. And then we have some video interviews that our MCB honors students have put together over the past several semesters. So you can look at that in a lot of different ways. And then once you find a faculty profile, this is something similar to what you'll see. So this is Stephanie Seaman. She's a professor in cell and developmental biology. And what you'll see is her main research topics listed up here. You've got her contact information, where she went to school. She teaches a graduate course in the medical school, and she does occasionally teach this undergraduate course. But you can see her main research topics. You can read a little bit about that. And then you can see some of her past presentations, or presentations and publications. So what I encourage you to do is look at our faculty, look at their different research profiles, make a list of those that are doing something that you are interested in learning more about, and then you will contact them based on that. There are a lot of you, and only about 50 to 60 faculty in the School of MCB. So there's going to be some competition. So don't just pick one faculty member that you want to work with and just email that person, and if they say no, then you're like, I can't find research. You're going to have to ask more than one person, and timing is important. Now here's the thing, I can't tell you when the best time to ask them is. I can give you some recommendations, but it's based on who they have in their lab that's a graduate student that has time to work with you. It's whether or not they have a project that's available to you. Maybe they have a student who just graduated and so now they have a spot open, but I can't predict when that will be. So you might have to ask multiple people multiple times. All right. So the next thing that you want to do is to create this online student profile. This is like an online resume. So you're going to log in as a student, you're going to provide information about your name, your UIN, what semester you are in school, not what year you are in school, how many semesters you've been on this campus. It's going to ask you about the courses that you've taken, the grades that you've earned in those, what your major GPA is. Just a show of hands, how many of you know how to find your major GPA? Not very many. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about it, but if you're not sure, ask your academic advisor. If you run a degree audit, those of you who are freshmen probably haven't heard about degree audits yet, but it's a DARS. You're going to learn about that in your LAS 101 or 122 course. You can run that, and when you do, you have several different GPAs. You have a cumulative GPA. You might have a transfer GPA if you took any community college courses, and then you have a major GPA. And for you in biology, that's going to be the biology, the chemistry, the physics, and the math that you've taken. But there is a section about right underneath the advanced courses required in MCB that gives you your major GPA, and you're going to look that up. So that's the kind of information that you'll put in. There is a place that you can write a short little essay about why you want to get involved in research. If you've ever done any type of research before, you can write about that. It is not required for you to have had previous research experience. Most of you haven't had that opportunity before, so don't be afraid to fill out this research profile if you've never done that. But basically what will happen, you will log in, you'll say the term that you're hoping to do research, you fill in this sort of information, and then the advising office will check this information. So one of the reasons that we have the profile system is this is information that in the past, MCB faculty have told us they would like to know about students before they get involved in research. And then what we do is fact check it. We make sure that the courses you put in are correct, that your grades that you put in, that your major GPA, that all of that is correct. We approve it, and then in about a week, we'll send you an email saying this has been approved. Here's a link that you can send out to MCB faculty that you're looking to work with. Okay, so any questions about the MCB student profile? One important thing to note about this is that it's only available to MCB and biochemistry students, and currently only MCB faculty or biochemistry faculty can see this. So if you end up looking for research in a non-MCB lab, then you're going to have to create your own online resume or take a screenshot of the one that we provide for you and send that to them. Okay, so the next thing to do is to contact faculty. I just recently did a survey of our faculty to double check what they prefer, and over 80% of them said they want students to contact them by email. 0% want you to call them, so do not call them. There were a couple that said they like to talk to students in person. I think that works out more if you're taking a class with them and you're talking to them maybe in office hours or before or after class, and it comes up that they're doing research that you're interested in, something to that effect, then you might talk to them in person. But for the most part, they want you to send them an email. Please make it professional. You're asking for a job, basically. So don't say, hey prof, I was looking online, it looks really cool that you work with bacteria, can I work in your lab? Don't do that. You need to have a salutation. Dear Dr. Blanky, my name is Tina. I am a junior in MCB. I have been looking online at your undergraduate research and I'm very interested in this, okay? Do you have any space in your lab? Thank you for your consideration, Tina Knox. Don't just not sign it. Please make it come from your university email so that they know that you are a legitimate person, and be professional. And you guys might be laughing at what I just said, like, hey prof, we get some really interesting emails. You're not texting them, you're not Snapchatting your friends, you are actually writing to them and asking them for a job, so please be professional. Make sure that you are specific to the lab. So this is where that research that I told you to do earlier comes in. Make sure you've looked at their profile online and that you have some idea of what they're doing. Now, they're not expecting you to be an expert. You're an undergraduate. Many of you said that you were freshmen wanting to get involved. So you probably haven't even finished MCB 150 or IB 150 yet. So they don't expect you to be an expert, but they do expect that you've looked and that you're not just sending the same form letter out to every single faculty member on this campus, okay? You might have to be patient and a little bit persistent. So you send out the email, faculty get tons of emails. And if they are not in the mode of thinking about needing an undergraduate researcher right at that moment, they may not get to it. Or maybe they have more pressing things, a grant proposal that's due that day that they can't get to. So they're most likely not going to answer you within 24 hours, know that, and some of them may not even answer you within a week. If you do not hear from them within about 5 days, you can send a follow-up, maybe just forward the previous email. I know you're probably busy, not sure if you saw my previous email. Do you have time to talk about a potential research position in your lab? Something like that. You might have to send that more than twice. You might have to reach out 3 times. I have had faculty tell me in the past that they will not respond to a student on the first request, that they want to know that they are interested enough in the lab that they will ask a second time. So be patient, be persistent, and always be professional. And you can send out emails to like 5 labs at a time if you want. I just wanted to show you some of the feedback that I got from the most recent faculty survey that I put out, just so you can get an idea. One of the take-home points from tonight is that each faculty member is going to have different expectations of you in their lab. So they don't all want the same thing. But this is what some of them said. They're looking for students preferably in their first or second year so that they can have them at least 1 more year after spending a year training them. A year training them. So they're going to have to train you on what's going on in their lab, the techniques being used in their lab, and get you up to speed so that you can be a good resource for them and that you can get some real work done. And so that sometimes means a 2-year commitment. It's more important to me to see how they think about our work in particular. So this was in regards to the student profile. I said, do you use it? Do you care about it? They said that they might look at it, but they really care more about the fact that the student has done research on what's going on in the lab and can talk about it or ask questions about it. Don't answer emails that say I'm really interested in what you do without showing they really know. Nobody should be doing research for just 1 semester. In MCB, you can't get anything done in 1 semester. You can barely learn what's going on in the lab. So most of the time they're going to want you to commit to a minimum of 2 semesters. And if the student's email is not specifically addressed to me, I delete it without further consideration. Again, Dear Dr. Blanky, my name is Tina. Make sure you're addressing the professor you're sending it to. And be careful if you're sending it to multiple professors that you don't get the names wrong. This is, so you can see some professors require a really big chunk of time. 12 hours a week in lab, preferably 3 to 4 hour blocks of time. When you're a freshman and a sophomore, sometimes that's hard to fit into your schedule, but you can keep in mind that this is what some faculty are looking for. And so then those same faculty usually say, if you have a heavy course load and a lot of extracurricular activities, they're discouraging you to apply. They really want you to be able to commit to time in the lab. If you're interested in going to graduate school, this is the best way for you to figure out if research is what you want to do with your life, and you are strongly encouraged to apply. One person said GPA is not important. Go back to what I said. That faculty member says GPA isn't important, and that's okay, but don't hurt yourself. You can't get into graduate school even if you've done undergraduate research if your grades are at a minimum. So do watch your grades and how much time you have to go to that. So different things here. All right, interview tips. If you do get an interview, again, treat this like a job. You don't have to dress up in a suit and tie, anything like that. In fact, faculty in MCB would probably think that was very strange. Nobody around here dresses like that unless there's some big important meeting to go to. But dress nicely, business casual. So slacks, a polo, button-down shirt, something like that. Come prepared, make sure that you, again, have looked over the research they're doing and that you have some idea of what's going on in the lab. Most importantly, ask about their expectations. If they are going to take you on in the lab and you're going to sign up for MCB 290, this is going to show on your transcript and you are going to get a grade in the course. I said before, every faculty member has different expectations. Make sure you know what those are for the person that you're working with. How often do you want me in lab? What is required of me? Do I need to present a poster at a conference? What do I need to do well in your course? Be honest about your availability. Don't say that you're available every day for 5 hours if you're not, and I don't know what student that's an undergraduate is, so be very honest with them about what you are available to commit. Okay, so once you find a lab, you've got to enroll. To do that, you'll get a form. You can get those forms either from the advising office in 164 Burrell Hall, in the core curriculum office, which is currently in 252 Davenport Hall, or from our website. So that same website I've been telling you to go back to, you can get all of the forms. There's a form that's available if you're doing research in an MCB lab. There's one for non-MCB labs, and then there's one for senior thesis, which none of you are at that point to do. Pay close attention to deadlines. As I mentioned before, you've got till the 10th day of the semester in a regular semester to add a course, and through the 7th day of the summer to add a course. Once you get into a lab, it's really easy to renew. You don't have to fill out all the forms and start all over again. What you do need to do is go online and use our renewal form so that we know that you're going to do that again. I mentioned that there are lots of people on campus doing research. If for some reason you are unable to find a faculty member in the School of MCB to do research with, you can look at other places. This is not an exhaustive list, but this is where a lot of our students have worked in the past. And people in veterinary medicine, in crop sciences, places like that, they really enjoy getting MCB students because you guys learn about molecular genetics. And in 251, you learn a lot of molecular genetic techniques that they utilize in their labs. So you're a hot commodity in crop sciences for sure. We do have a couple of institutes on campus that have their own websites that you can go to. The Beckman Institute, you can go to the Institute for Genomic Biology and look at research that's being done there and reach out to different professors in those labs. If you do research in a non-MCB lab, there's a special form that you need to fill out to earn course credit. So if you find a spot in crop sciences, we can't sign you up under MCB 290 in a crop science faculty member's lab because they don't have a section. But what we do is we put you under Melissa Michaels' section, so it'll be a special section, MCB 290 MM. In order to do that, you will have to fill out the non-MCB form, and you'll have to write just a short proposal, a couple of paragraphs that talks about what you specifically will be doing in the lab. Not the abstract of what's going on in faculty members' lab. What you specifically will be doing, you can do that in concert with the faculty member you're working with or the graduate student you're working with. They sign off on it. We approve it in the core curriculum office. That's 252 Davenport. We approve most of them if they have any reasonable relationship to molecular and cellular biology. So again, you are not limited to MCB, but keep in mind that there are strict deadlines, that they don't do late ads, especially if it's a non-MCB lab. There are no exceptions to that. So, before I introduce our faculty, that was a speed overview of what research is, how to enroll in research, all of that, policies and procedures. Questions from you all? Yeah.
Is summer research any more or less popular than research going on during the spring and fall?
That's a good question. She asked about summer research and whether it was more popular than what's going on in the spring and fall. My personal opinion is, just from listening to students, is that it's easier to find a research position in the summer. Faculty tend to like that because you can commit to them for much larger chunks of time. It's a really good time to start research because you can learn about the lab throughout the summer, working close to 40 hours a week if you wanted to, depending on what else you were doing that summer. And then that way you'd be prepared in the fall to start a project. So yeah, I think summer is a really good time. If you are able to stay here during the summer, you can get a lot done. Other questions? Yeah. So she's asking if you need to take MCB 290 before you apply for an undergraduate research position. And the answer is no, you do not need to, and you can't. The only way to register for MCB 290 is to have found a faculty member that is going to allow you to work in their lab. And then there's a specific section that you sign up for based on who you're working with. Other questions?